But the painting, the technique that I use would be the same.
Okay.
So when I'm working with a horizon line on the ocean or wherever, and I want to make sure my line's right, a T-square is a great tool to double check. Right now, I'm okay with this because that's foliage and the trees. And over here, I'm okay because I'm not. I think I'm fine. Because that above the ruler, I don't see any land. And if I was concerned, then I could get my longer one out and double check it. But you can always come back and fine tune that too.
Those rulers are $3.99 at Hobby Lobby. I bought one the other week.
So I've got quite a bit on my brush, so I'm going to go ahead and just lay in this distant line. It's kind of wet. I don't know why I have that much.
Beautiful. Ooh.
Why I have that much water, not the water. It was a little too fluid. I don't want it too fluid because things won't stick on it. Even though if you use too much mineral spirits and you want to put something on it, it's too wet. So, less is more in that case. So, I'm laying in just some medium tones. Now the back of the water is going to be darker because in the photo than it is right here, because in here's when we have the movement, and that'll lighten it up some, and it'll get more intense. But I'm not making it real thick, even though I could come back later, probably add some more. Right now I'm doing kind of another, just a layer. It's not thick.
Is that phthalo or is that both?
It's both. I'm kind of
Is
just
that
picking
same
a
blue
little.
and you're thinning it with what? A little white or just mineral
I have a little white kind of mixed in, and my brush is fairly loaded with mineral spirits, but I don't. I had to wipe it off. It was too.
So you're making just kind of
Well,
wash. It's a beautiful color. And it really is similar to the blue in the clouds.
And the
Well,
clouds have
in
purple.
any landscape or seascape you do, if you don't marry the cloud, or marry the two together, you're going to have a painting up here that might be beautiful and a painting down here that might be beautiful, but then they don't go together because the colors that are in your top in your sky are not somewhere in your ground. That was one thing about this one. When you look at the photo that this one came from, there's no blue in the ground. But when I pulled the blue from the sky and put it in the shadows, then you married the two. So anyway, you want to do that. So while I have, that's a little dark for that area, so I'm not going to stay in that very long. I'm just trying to use the paint happens to be on my brush, and just scumbling it off, and I'll come back and make that look better in a minute.
Can we take a picture of
Sure.
this stage, please?
Sure. Is that still going?
Yes, I've been checking it every
Yeah, it's
couple
going.
minutes.
Yay!
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want my butt on the picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll send these to whoever wants them.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I can
Go
email
ahead,
these
Susie.
to you, Joanne, if you want.
Go ahead. Can you see it?
I can. If Gary.
Wait until it's further along, okay?
Thank
The
you.
last one you take.
But it's good to have it in stages
Yeah,
too.
it is.
Yeah.
Because then
It
you
is.
remember what she
And you
did.
go, what in the world did she do?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you don't remember.
Yeah,
how
that's
she
Actually,
true.
got
write
That's
it.
down the
true.
order she does
That's
things
why I
in
love
sometimes,
demos.
just to be able to.
Yeah, Suzanne takes good notes. So,
Must
But
have
a
been
picture is
reminded.
worth
Oh
a
yeah, oh yeah.
thousand words.
No, I mean, I say, okay,
Yeah, but
she
that's
did
good
the
too.
sand first, then she did the water, you know.
And she was holding her mouth this way.
Yeah.
If you can get that,
Will that help us?
if you teach me how I
Heck
did
yes,
that
it's
would
the
be
magic
great.
of the way you hold your mouth.
Now, it might be how you hold your brush too.
Oh, that.
All right, so yeah, if I want to be loose, if you want to be looser, you
Back
hold
off.
your brush further back.
See, that's how she did the water in that other one when they were doing waves, yes.
See, it's like, I'm not making fun of anyone that has, a debilitating disease that makes you shake, but
Age.
you know, age. Yes, that's what I
A
have.
tremor is a good thing.
You know, but I don't want a hard line along here. I just want some hint of water coming in. Now, that's a little dark, but I'll lighten it up. Really need to look at my painting in my picture more.
You took a picture at a good point, because then you'll see how this is added to it.
Someone once commented that sunrise water is always brighter than sunset water, even though you've got basically the same colors in the sky.
I find sunrises to be prettier normally.
Yes.
This was a sunrise. The one in there was a sunset. And that was one of the most vibrant sunsets I'd ever seen. That was a sunrise. But I love sunrise because you have fewer people to work around for your photos.
Well,
Because most people aren't getting up that early.
sunsets go away fast.
So sunrises do too. If you're on the coast, I try to get on the beach 30 minutes before sunrise, at least.
Because once that sun hits the horizon, it's off and running.
Yeah, it is. And see, I'm getting a little duller in here, and this is where you have to worry about your brain taking over and doing, repeating patterns.
And that's not a
That's
good
what
thing.
happens with your
Well, you
clouds,
you want variety.
Variety
You
of
don't
patterns.
want every little pass to be the same. So I'm gonna come back here, lighten some of this up, because I want this one to really kind of pop. So if I'm not, if what's behind him is lighter than he is, then that's gonna help with my
focal point.
and perspective.
Is that your lavender again?
Mm-hmm. It's just and of course I also had some blue on my brush, so, but see, that's too dark. So, oops, too dark. Wipe it off. But it's no panic. Just lift it off. Because I'm not painting heavy. I'm not. I think. There's some artists who paint heavy and do amazing stuff. I'm not. That's not me on a normal basis. Now, this is a little more vibrant probably than I want. Do you see why?
Is
Yeah.
that phthalo?
Pulls your eye.
Pulls your eye.
Yeah.
So if you put something down, you go, ooh, that's too bright. So I'm not going to wipe that one off. I'm just going to go get a little orange, and I'm going to dull it down.
Clever.
So, and this is really thin, and I need more paint down here. So I'm going to pick up some more paint.
Now at the very end, are you going to come in with thick paint or not?
I don't
This
know.
is just going to be a thin paint.
I don't know. I haven't decided that. That's a
I didn't
good
know if you
question.
had to, or can you leave it?
Yeah, you can leave it. It's your
Okay.
painting.
Heck yes. Save money on paint.
Well, that's kind of what I do with my pastels. I do underpaintings with inexpensive pastels, and I layer things, and then the very last bits of the pastel that I use are my most expensive pastels.
The luscious one.
And, yeah, they're very luscious ones. And I have a paint. I want a little more texture and variation. It's all too similar.
Same.
I don't want samey.
Yeah.
And remember where this came from last week when I had too much minerals or water on my brush when I was doing my underpainting,
yeah.
and I lifted paint off.
Yeah.
It's like, oops, didn't mean to do that. I just paint over it. It's no big deal. Now this is probably too orange. So you just go back and forth. But I can just add a little more vibrant. I probably need to step back and really look at it because I can't tell.
It's a little muddy.
Well, I don't mind it being muddy there. But in here is where it's supposed to get a little cleaner. Because his reflection or this part of the this goes
Right.
a little down to the side. So again, if I don't like that, well, I don't like it. Take it off.
Wow.
See? So, it makes this method to me very less stressful.
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to be stressed out when I paint. I want to enjoy the journey, so to speak. And now I can take some of that and pull it into here.
Both Jen and I trying to not be stressed when we're painting.
No, do not paint when your husband wants dinner and starts snagging you. Oh my lord, I was ready to shank him. It's like, you know where the microwave is.
Say, what are you picking us up, honey? What you going to get, honey?
Well, if Brad knows I'm really working on something, he'll do that, and it's really nice. It's like, I'll get pizza tonight. Yay, thank you, because then I know I don't have to cook anything.
Yep.
And now, see, I just put this down here because I saw it here, and then I looked up and I go, okay, I don't have any bright orange right up in here, so I really don't need that
Yeah,
there.
that's exactly right.
Okay, so sometimes you have to really, you need to paint when you're at home. So, when you're at home.
Okay,
here.
we'll stop talking about
No,
pizza,
you're fine.
pizza
It's-
and husbands.
But it happened, you just get carried away with, oh, I like this, or I like this. But
I'm bad about
but
that.
now
That's pretty.
if I wanted it there, that bright, I would have to then come up and add something up there.
Yeah.
But again, here I have thinner paint in the shadows. Remember what we talked about?
Mm-hmm.
Thinner paint in the shadows, thicker paint in the light. And I don't mind this neutral kind of color. I don't mind it thin. Now I need to come over here and see if I can pull it all together because I need y'all to finish up in time for y'all to paint. How are we doing time-wise?
It is
140.
Yeah, 140 is plenty of
You haven't
time.
even been working that long because
This
you
has
guys
been going
visited
for
from
45 minutes. This thing.
45 minutes?
This thing, yeah.
Oh, yay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how time flies when you're painting.
Mm-hmm.
See, now last week, Joanna, I was going to stop and let them paint. No, keep going, keep
Yeah,
going.
we didn't want to paint.
We didn't want to.
Well, we were having a great time watching you.
It's like, well, I like the fact that you like to watch me, but I hate the fact that you drag everything here and then you don't. I got to take care of that smudge right there. We're going to hit dark enough. Yellow is usually very transparent. Ooh, that's wrong color.
Yeah.
Why is
Is
that
that
wrong
lemon?
color? What's wrong?
It's too cool. It's lemon. Is
Yes.
it lemon?
Lemon,
Yes. Oh, yellow again. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
We had a good teacher.
Yeah, well, you get to see my mistakes, so you know how to
You know, that's very helpful.
fix it.
And it's nice to find out you're not perfect.
Far
Semi-perfect.
Far from it. All right, I really like this
That's a beautiful
CAD medium. It's adding a
Thank you.
nice warmth to it. And according to Marcia Savage, who is a colorist, and I've studied under her in pastel workshops, orange is the warmest color on the color wheel.
Oh, yeah.
And so it makes sense when you think of blue being warm, and it's between the greens and the purples. So, but I just never thought of it that way. So if you want to warm something up, that's why when I'm painting trees and things, if I want to show sunlight in a tree, a lot of times I'll add orange. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is that? I gotta back up. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I normally stand further back. Okay, just immediately standing back, realize I need a little bit of yellow in here. Not much. But, and I'm looking at my pastel, not my photograph. I need to mute some of that a little bit.
Yeah, because your photograph is almost solid gray in that
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah, pastel or photographs will darken your darks and lighten your lights, and you won't realize that you're missing a lot of color
Right.
that you don't see because of your photograph. And that's what painting plein air has helped me understand, is that even I was so stubborn, y'all. After I retired and I started taking classes, I mean, God bless the first teachers that taught me after I retired. I knew reds were cool. Warm, and I knew blues were cool, but I didn't know there was cool reds. I didn't know there were warm blues. Plus, they would say, paint what you see, or well, part of it is paint what you see, not what you know. But they would say photos lie, and I go, no, they don't. This is what they look like, and I would say that, and I'm so sorry, teachers,
Right,
but they do. But I didn't realize that, and when I would ask seasoned artists to critique my portfolio, the first thing they would say is, you need to work from life. And I would go, how do they know that I wasn't working from life? Well, because photos lie. And if you paint what's in the photo, you'll have hard edges for your distance. See, like I'm looking at this one, see how that right there is hard? I need to soften that. All the others along is pretty soft. So to soften it, you can take a brush that's dry and just drag that across. No paint.
Okay, soft background.
Right. Now last week, let me dig out the big brush I grabbed right behind you.
Oh.
Last week,
Got it?
yeah. Another way to soften something, you can have large soft brushes. So if I wanted to soften something here, I could hit it lightly with a dry brush. What I did last week when I wanted to make softer clouds, I hit it lightly when it was still wet to soften the edges. So having another brush that's dry, has no paint on it, can also let you
Good, like that.
I gotta get a new mop brush.
and it could be an old makeup brush that you
What,
clean.
have you ever
tried
used
that,
those?
but I didn't do as well with
It didn't?
that. I
It's
didn't
not.
think so.
I mean, these are probably less.
Let me
Now
see.
there's
They were 50% off at
Well,
Hobby Lobby
it's
last
about
week.
the same.
It's
my-
very
my
similar.
So
old
that's
man
about
Como is about
$4.99
like
at
this.
Hobby Lobby.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say.
what do you do with the brush?
Mine is about like that.
That's
my
like a
makeup brush.
fan.
I just.
I use that
it
for
was
like
falling apart
grasses.
anyway, so
Yeah,
I thought I'd just
okay.
get it.
And but when I want a lot of texture, but
Which
just
one do
make sure it doesn't all, so you turn
And you
it
bring it up. You
Right.
always go up with it,
I need a
up, or
shopping list.
you can
Yeah.
turn it on its
but
side.
don't come down.
Not usually. It's like this. So some of
Oh,
them
there's
are,
one.
Some of them are curved.
But I've got a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are curved, and you just don't want that curve
Yeah.
everywhere.
Oh, I like
So
it for my
you can
face.
turn it sideways.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Tell me again. I was too
Well,
busy looking at this brush.
You can turn them sideways and
Yeah.
flip stuff. You can soften things.
Yeah, I've
tap
got to work with
things.
my brush like that. Yeah, I can see that
But
be useful.
if I paint a marsh scene, some of the closer mid-tone, I might
Yeah.
it just helps. It's a lot faster than one little
Right.
twig at a time.
Well, I tried to use that with my waterfalls and the national park one from Crochet. It didn't do a good job.
Now,
It can be frustrating.
Yeah.
one thing though too, remember when I did my cat,
Would you
Carrie?
bring me one more cookie?
I had those real soft fan brushes, which were, I guess, probably
Yes.
more for
oh,
like
not the whole thing.
a different
Oh, it's okay.
medium,
That's
And,
bad.
and she suggested to get a little coarser ones, and that was a big
big
difference.
difference.
Coarse fan.
Coarser
For cat
type, I
fur?
guess.
Stiff, yeah.
Stiff, yeah.
That's my
is what I
favorite
meant.
are stiff because
Stiff
then you
one.
can flip it kind of
Right.
with your wrist.
Made a big
Now the
difference.
real soft
For
ones,
cat fur.
For fur.
watercolor, it's great for
Yeah,
things
that
like
was the ones I think I had were for watercolor. oil.
Ah,
And
I didn't know there was a difference.
yeah.
Watercolor brushes are okay. If you want to know, one way to tell, it's not the only way, but the stiffer the brush, the stiffer the paint.
Mm-hmm.
If the paint's very fluid, you'll have a very soft brush.
Mm-hmm.
So that's to me was the easiest way to remember.
These cookies are good. Nobody else want another one?
Oh, I'll have one in a minute.
Oh, sure, I want the whole thing, Joanne, but no thank you.
Is that the lavender?
How many Weight Watchers points is on it?
I have no idea.
We're not worried about it. Carrie's skinny, but I am not.
I've lost 20,
I know you have
24
Miss
pounds.
Skinny Mini.
But you know the joy of that is like my
Now
husband
you
and
can
I.
eat.
We went out to Freddy's yesterday and had hot fudge sundae.
What? Oh, that's that ice cream.
That it had it's frozen
With a
custard.
custard.
Are they good?
Very
Yes.
good.
I don't want to hear about it. I'm sorry I asked.
And if you take your
There's
dog,
not a
and if you take your
roosters
dog,
in
they have
town
pup
anymore.
cups.
Oh,
A
really?
they have free pup cups.
Oh, let's
Cute.
see.
Right.
Is that worth vacuuming my car afterwards?
Okay, I'm looking at the sky here. It's really vibrant red.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that really on here,
Mhm.
but I think I want it on my larger painting. So I'm pulling in some more of the cad red light. And it's warm, very, very warm. So I might have to tone it down a little bit. Just part of the way. That's the screaming at me. I don't know if I like that. I might come back and.
I think you're gonna want it, but maybe, like you said, tone down a tad.
But again, sometimes, a lot of times, I'll work one part of the painting and I'll just stay there and stay there and stay there and I go, oh, go away. And you just have to, I'm going to stop the sand and I need to work
Finish
the
the
water.
Yeah.
And sometimes just going away or stepping away, walking away, coming back to it, like I really shouldn't be sitting this close for so long. When I stand and paint, I'm always standing backing up. So I might notice something's really off when I get up in a little bit. But I'm just gonna finish up this. I'm mainly using a little more ultramarine white. I'll probably need to come back with. I'm gonna go ahead and establish the darks of the blue first, because I never did. See, that's way too intense.
Yeah.
And it didn't look that bright down here. It's kind of very subtle. That reminder, if you want to test your colors, sometimes you can hit it on a. And it's like, woo, too bright.
No, it's way more fun to watch you make a mistake on the canvas. It's nice to know you can and that you can back off from it.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, how frustrating would that be if you couldn't?
Oh, yeah. With watercolor, you're screwed. pretty
Well,
much.
yeah. Well, that's why I paint. That's also why I paint small in watercolor, and with less water. The less water means you can control it better. Make that a little darker back there, because there's not much light on that part.
Gosh, the sand looks harder than the sky, and I was thinking it would be the other way around.
I don't think so. Well, that's why you didn't have to paint this picture. You could paint.
But I wanted to
Yeah.
paint
The
the
part I struggle on
Because
when
it's
we
a good
did
way to
waves was
learn
The
is
sand, the
to
sand killed me.
Yeah. To try and
Oh.
reproduce what you
She
do
fu-
is a great
Do
learning tool.
does it smell good? Do the cookies smell
Says,
good?
yes, please.
Do the cookies smell good?
It's like I don't
No,
eat
but could
cookies.
you moan while you
That's
eat
below
it? So I
me.
can
That's below
Thanks a lot, Hillary.
Oh Lord,
I
this
was
is
good
gonna
for
be
that.
on the video.
Yeah, everything y'all record
Uh-oh.
is yes. No, that's what's funny. But when I post these, I said these are unedited. So if you and you can, of course, obviously. Okay, see that still is too intense. That's too blue.
Is that phthalo?
That was phthalo and ultramarine kind of mix. So I'm going to add more orange to it. I want to.
Dull it
dull it down.
But you're gonna mix it on the canvas.
Yeah, why not? Because I already have blue there.
Heck yes.
It saves time. Now I still want darker. Maybe. All right, let me go ahead. This right here is kind of just distracting me, so I'm just going to cover this pink. Just scumbling over it. Sometimes you just have to annihilate something that's in the way. Like that.
Annihilate. I love it.
Yeah. It's like, I don't like this. This is not working for me, so I'm getting rid of it.
Have you reworked something that you liked until you ruined it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, gummit. You liked it in the beginning, but you thought you could make it better, and you made it worse.
Pause off.
And I go, oh, I really shouldn't have touched that. Yeah.
Step away from the paint.
I think everybody has. I mean, I'd be surprised if you haven't. But that's why stepping away makes a difference. Backing away, getting a different perspective, even just what Camille Priswatic calls like if you're looking at something and you keep staring at the same place all the time, she calls it retina fatigue. Because if you keep staring at something at the same time, you're gonna lose your sensitivity to what color it really is. And
That's interesting.
I mean, if you stare at something for a long time, then look at something else, or look at a white sheet of paper, sometimes you'll see the complements.
Okay.
It inverts. So your
Yeah.
eyes, so just, so give your eyes a break and
Carrie,
walk
would you
away.
ever leave the water with a lot of pink through that because
Yeah.
of the sky? Because
Yeah.
that looks beautiful
Yeah.
from back here.
Yeah. Sure
And I
is.
might,
I love it.
because, and that's one reason why I love underpaintings, is because now this part right here I'm not thrilled with.
Right.
That's that's where I need a little darker shadows, but
See,
yeah.
I would say when you bring so much darkness right up to the beach, doesn't the sand underneath it lighten whatever is being reflected from the sky, the sand will soften the color as it comes on shore. Rather than having dark right up to the.
Right. Well, I've got a lot of light I've got to add on top
Oh,
of that.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
But but oils traditionally are dark to light. So I want to add the darks first.
And then do the
And then I'm
lights.
going to come back. Yeah,
Gotcha.
you'll see these really dark
Pastel.
waves in through here.
Okay.
Piece of-
Yeah. I
Good
got
point.
it. Got it. Okay.
This is why a demo is good.
Yes.
You see it in the ugly stage. Not that
Yes.
this is ugly, this is beautiful.
Yes,
But you see what's underneath all that beauty. Did you get that video?
Get what?
get that.
Was that on
She's
the
talking
video?
to the-
sure.
We're talking to the video.
I'm messing with you.
Well,
But you're right, because the sand shows through, but when you're on the beach and in these sunrises, sunsets, whatever it happens to be, whatever is up there is just glowing on the sand. It's because the sand's wet. But you also have very thin, foamy bits of water. And they're kind of hard to see, but it's kind of over in this area. It'll be lighter. That might be still too dark. You want to get the value right. You don't want it to see, I put too much orange in that. So I want a dull blue. That's why I was using that. That's not exactly dull, but I'm dragging some of the sky in. This is the water. Is that making sense?
yeah, that's pretty
Okay. But this was mainly ultramarine, tiny bit of orange, and white. I grade it down, and then I'm going to also put in some of that same color as I break up the waves, where the dark is. And pay attention. You know, some of the waves have flat tops to them. You know, where the water catches, and then you have a long bit of foaminess. And it's a little lighter in through here. Pretend I know what it looks like on the other side.
You see, that was very red before you started, and I don't see much of that coming through now. That little
Right in here?
that little triangular bit right there where you're going off. No, below it,
Oh.
where you're working right now.
Yeah.
That was a real vibrant red, and now it's gone.
There is a little bit
Can
coming
you see
through,
little bits through?
but yeah, it's not much there.
Okay.
Gary, if you turned that bright light that you moved for Hillary down, Joanne might see it just for a second. See the reds coming through?
Okay. Yeah, I can now a little
I'm
bit.
sorry,
I
I didn't
didn't
hear
Yeah,
you. Had
yeah,
to
I see that.
permanently
Okay.
Leave your bright
Oh, no.
light.
I see it.
I just meant.
No, it was fine.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
It was
it's
just reflecting off
All
those
right.
wet
Yeah, it
mineral
was.
spirits
Yeah, you
at the
couldn't
beginning.
feel
okay. Is that good for y'all?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that's
good.
beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, kitty. You're a funny cat.
Which one is that? Sadie.
Still Sadie.
She's become very
Social?
social, and it's funny because the other ones are usually more so than she is. But that's okay. She's, you know.
So when you drag your blue brush over your yellow sand, it tends to get a little green. Does that matter?
I don't care.
Because the ocean, I guess, has green in it.
Well, your eyes are like right now. That's very green. But that doesn't bother me.
Okay, I think it's pretty.
But if you don't, if something bothers you, you can come back with something a little heavier, and like I'm gonna come in here with a lighter. Breaking up some of that down below. It's just I don't know how to explain it all.
No, we need is a
I didn't know
golden.
how to explain it all.
We need a golden retriever in that wave.
Oh yeah, that was a fun painting to paint.
It's a beautiful painting.
Now I'm coming back with touches of orange.
Just orange?
Well, it my brush didn't really clean it
Okay.
much, but I'm just pulling some of that to kind of shine in between.
The water's so colorful.
Well, it was vibrant that morning. It was beautiful.